Hi everyone, my name is Dr. Melissa Estavillo. Welcome to Biltmore Psychology and Counseling's video blog. For this month, we are talking about relationship distress. A lot of our couples counselors here often will talk about relationships, and very commonly we see couples that come in, so we just wanted to answer some of the common questions that we get around this. So the very first question that we have is, what are the most important steps to heal a relationship after cheating? So, for a lot of people that are in relationship distress, it's embarrassing, it's uncomfortable, but infidelity and cheating has been an aspect of their relationship. And so it's a very common reason why people present for counseling. And so many times it feels overwhelming for couples, and they feel like, we have no idea how we're going to be able to get past this or be able to process through. And I think some of the common reactions from our family and friends tend to be like, well, once a cheater, always a cheater, and there's no way you're going to be able to get past this. So today we really just wanted to talk about what some of those steps look like so there can be some hope for couples out there. So one of the first things that's just so very important is for the partner who has cheated to show a large sense of remorse. So when I'm first working with couples, if there's a sense of defensiveness from the partner that's cheated, or places in which it feels uncomfortable, so they just kind of want to draw the line and be able to move on, that first piece of showing a huge sense of remorse, a huge sense of sadness of I hurt you, there might be some complicated pieces about the cheating or maybe even why that took place. That's not discussed at that moment. There's just a full acknowledgement of, I committed to you that I would be faithful the way we define our relationship, and I broke that. I broke that trust. I broke that commitment, and I feel so sorry that I hurt you in the midst of this. And so that's an important piece for that beginnings of trust, beginnings of healing to be able to happen. So that's an important first step. The second part is acknowledging the underlying cause. Now, we want to be very careful here, because I think there can be a common perception that if someone has cheated, that it must be that the partner is somehow at fault, and that can be really offensive to someone to feel like, I've been faithful to you and you cheated on me and somehow I'm at fault for that. But we do know that, there can be lots of dynamics within a relationship. So very carefully, very sensitively, we want to be able to talk about what took place. And here, I think it's really important for the person that is cheated to be able to acknowledge and say, hey, here's the reason why I did what I did. I also think very commonly, I get a lot of partners that come in and say, I can't tell you why, which can be really kind of scary for the other person to go, well, if you can't tell me why, then how the heck are you going to prevent that from happening again? And so that's a part of our work, is being able to help that person see, okay, it was fulfilling this XYZ need, or, I've been having depression and that's one of the reasons why this took place. It doesn't justify. We want to make sure that that's really clear, but we do want to, in a non-judgmental environment, be able to say, these were the dynamics that led to that place, so that we can create some healing and create some boundaries so that this doesn't happen again. So for the third step, it's really important for the offending partner to be able to commit that the affair is done. Like, that's really important to be able to say, hey, there's not this like wishy-washiness, or hey, I just need to have a little bit more contact, or, hey, I want for it to be done, but I'm not really sure. In a way, it feels obvious, but I think for a lot of couples, in this healing time, there is some ambiguity around that, and there's not a clean break. And unfortunately, I've seen that be really problematic, where someone does get on board and say, okay, I want to work on this, like, I'm all in. And if there was the wishy-washiness for a bit in the midst of that healing, then that can be really damaging. So again, that's important to have kind of that firm sense of, hey, I hurt you, I made a mistake, I feel terrible about that, we're talking about the reasons why, and it's done. Like, there is no more contact with this person. So another important step, number 4, we'd say, is be open to have honest discussions. So there can be a lot of fear from the person that's cheated to be like, I can't answer questions. We do sometimes talk and say, okay, there can be content that can be really painful to hear. And so sometimes when someone has a question, I'll say, hey, before we talk about answering it, I really want to get at what is the reason that's driving that. Because usually when we're able to find that sense of healing or the reason why that question is coming about, that's actually so much more effective than the person just giving kind of a content answer. But there does also need to be a sense of openness of, hey, what you need is what you need for healing, and I'm not going to be setting these really kind of firm limits and not allow you to have any access to any information. So one of the other important steps that again can feel really kind of obvious is the step of rebuilding trust. And that can be really daunting for a lot of couples to feel like, how could I ever trust you again? You lied to me, you hurt me. I'm not sure how I'd ever get there. But it really comes through some very basic step-by-step pieces where when someone feels all in, it feels like they're emotionally available. It feels like when there's distress, that person is caring and comforting in that moment. That can be a pivotal first step. I think another piece is being able to see this person that you were before that cheated, you were able to identify some of those pieces that led to that, and I don't see you as that same person. Like, it feels like you've grown, it feels like you've changed, and so it does feel like we're entering a new situation, a situation in which we've been able to heal some of the disconnection and problems that were there before. And so the last point that we would make that can be really helpful in recovering from an affair or cheating is to find a couples counselor. So for a lot of couples, they have tried to do some of this on their own, and a lot of couples can be successful on their own, but there can be so much emotion involved and it can be so complicated that that's really a big step to be able to say, hey, let's find a guide to help us be able to do these steps without hurting each other, without somehow messing up, and to have some hope that we can get through it, because it can feel just really negative sometimes at home. And so a couples counselor can really be key. So again, we love questions like this. We definitely want to be able to answer some of the ways in which these complicated situations can find resolution and can find connectedness again. So if you want more content like this, we'd love for you to subscribe as always, and you can leave any sort of questions in the comments below. Thank you.